Okay, well, it appears that this works. I feel slightly disheveled. I look slightly disheveled. It appears that YouTube got an update here for going live. And I've used the live feature quite often here. Maybe not here, but in my workout. Oh, is this it? How's that? Is that better? Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Anyway, I've used the live feature in my workout channel, which is Scampone Personal Training. I don't think I've ever gone live here on this channel, here, G Money Podcast. But it appears like it works. I have one viewer on right now. That's a personal record, considering this is my first time going live on this channel. How are you today? Today's Sunday. We're about to watch some Red Zone football today. I'm just logging on to kind of experiment what we got going on here and see if this option is available to me if I want to do some live streaming here. I have 1,000 some odd subscribers on my other workout channel, and I do go live on there. However, read the room, right? You don't want to go live and banter on my workout channel, right? If I'm going to go live and banter, it might as well be here on the G Money podcast. It has been a while. And just even saying that G Money podcast into a microphone brings back a lot of memories of the early 2020s. But we didn't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We've always been here behind this mic, and we're back. We came in here with a little bit of Chevelle. I Get It, Chevelle. This song here, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this song. So you guys know that song, Chevelle, I Get It. I came on here not really knowing what I was going to cover in this live here, but as the G Money podcast comes back to me, there's different formats and topics and segments that I had, if you will. And that was one of my segments, was just playing some music live over the airs as if I was a radio host. I think that would be a pretty cool job. Being someone on the radio and just plays music for people all day, I think that'd be a pretty cool job. If everybody has an iPhone or something of that nature, a cell phone, you can go on and check your 2025 year in review of your music selection. And we're going to do that here. Let's see. Okay, we'll go through it here. Your 2025 top artists, not yours, but mine. Drake, Grateful Dead, Chance the Rapper, Dave Matthews Band, Coco Melon. Shout out to my daughter. Coco Melon's making the top 5. Your top songs of 2025. Wow. All early on. Daughter, Hakuna Matata, Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake, Zukazama. All 3 of the top 5 are little kid songs. So let's get into it here. The 4th one is Shakedown Street by Grateful Dead. And the 5th one is Uncle John's Band by Grateful Dead. Another great song there. I'll put that song on right now. This is Wraith by Chance the Rapper and Vic Mensa. Well, the first days of Uncle John's Band by the Grateful Dead. Okay, so top albums of 2025: Starline by Chance the Rapper, Take Care by Drake. Wow, that was a throwback. The Wall by Pink Floyd. That's pretty cool. For All the Dogs by Drake. That's a newer album of his. Shout out Drake. And Live at Wrigley Field, Dead and Company. That's my top 5 albums. And I'll just go through quickly. My top playlist of 2025 was Yacht Rock. So I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but that's what happened. How's everyone doing out there in the world? Are there any topics you'd like me to cover while we're live here? This is interesting. I'm so used to going live on my fitness channel that I'm always dialed into isometrics and speaking about fitness and ranting and bantering on that. Here I am now in a different atmosphere. I could just talk about anything here if you'd allow me. One thing I do remember is doing lives before and playing music live on a live. When you go to rewatch it, the music isn't playing through. So YouTube must have a feature that you can't play copyright music into a live, which makes sense. That makes complete sense. So did you hear that last song by Luke Borcheldt? Let me know if you heard it or not, or if YouTube is censoring it out because it's copyrighted music. That would be interesting and a bit of information I should know. There's some information out there that's unnecessary. Too much information is unnecessary. That's a piece of information I should know. If one of my segments is not going to be broadcasted here on live. Yeah, and that brings up an interesting point that I might as well capture here in this moment, is the idea of information and having too much of it. And being too smart is too dumb. Yep. I think there's a threshold in terms of how much information we should be taking in, and if you get too much of it, it's of burden. So taking in the least amount of information possible moving forward, and in turn conveying the least amount of information possible, speaking the least possible. Isn't that an interesting concept, that too much intake is too much and too much output is too much? And the only way of knowing when too much is by scaling it all back. Maybe not. Maybe knowledge is not power. They say knowledge is power. Maybe knowledge is burden. You think about a laptop. Too much information on a laptop, too much data slows it down. If our devices have a cap in terms of data, why don't we, as humans, It appears I have a little piece of hair sticking up on my head. But guess what? The show goes on. So when I talk to ChatGPT, I'm like, this is the best thing ever created, which I do believe is the best thing ever created, ChatGPT. But then I'm like, all right, this is 10xing the amount of information I take in on a daily basis. So is this good for me? Too much ChatGPT is also clogging the database. Did I even name this live? What's the name of this live? It's 11:40 or 12:40, excuse me. You know, I always thought too that I could do like live events. I think I'd be a good broadcaster of live events, and narrator of live events. I've done that segment before for the NFL wild card weekend. I did a preview of the games and then I did a live narration of the games, and I thought that was pretty good. Am I adding any value to your existence at this current moment? Probably not. But sometimes we just need things to pass the time. You understand what I mean? If you've watched this long, this is almost 12 minutes and 50 seconds. You know, I may have not made any sense over that duration of time, but if you sat there and watched it the whole time, I took up 12 minutes of your time. And there's something to be said about entertainment. It's just to take in nonsense. I think that is the cool thing about entertainment is because it's not something you have to remember. Not information. It's not loading up your data. It's just mindless viewing, observing. Okay. I think that's all I have to add. I remember on my fitness channel when I started out with no viewers and no subscribers. Okay. Let's see if I can add anything. Mess around with this. Will this work? That's the name of this. That's the title. Will this work? That's, you know, kind of funny. I did that. I did that. So I'm laughing at myself. So if anything, there's that. And that I will leave you with. I don't even know how to exit out of this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's see. Okay. This is just over and out.